Okay. Good morning, everyone. Today's date is the 15th of May, and we're taking a look at Nasdaq currently. Yesterday, I dropped a midweek review / outlook for you guys on DXY and GU. I didn't do anything on Nasdaq in terms of direction or callouts for the week, specifically because of the economic drivers coming out this week. I just prefer to sit on my hands and kind of just watch what has to happen. But I'm going to be sharing an idea this morning. In no way is it a signal of any sort. In no way is it me coercing you into taking any type of positions on your account. It's just my idea for today. So yesterday we had PPI being released, and this large, it's a down close candle, but the massive wick below it, this large candle was on that news release. What I noticed is that we saw a sweeping discount, taking out this internal low in the end, trading into this 4-hour order block that we have, and then quite swiftly trading away from it. I mean, if you looked at the time of the release or the time of NY Open, you would have seen that this week had already been formed, and it would have been a very clear indication as to what Nasdaq was intending to do for yesterday. The only positions that I was looking for yesterday on Nasdaq, because I traded myself personally, post news release and everything, but the only positions that I was looking for were buy positions at around about the New York Open, which was at the closure of this candle and the opening of this the next 10 a.m. candle. Very clear indication that it wants to go higher. Pairing the idea with yesterday's DXY analysis. Little tip: if DXY is intended to be bullish, this market will be bearish, or the high probability trades in this market will be bearish trades or sell positions. If DXY is intended to be bearish, this market will, or the higher probability trades in this market will be bullish, right? So just carrying that idea over from what we discussed yesterday with regards to DXY, and forming our own sort of case study on this market. You know, buys were the obvious choice for yesterday, right? Now, key things to note for me is this little stop run that we formed on that news event, the smart money reversal. We sweep this low whilst trading into this order block, which the order block formed at a higher time frame PDRA. The two horizontal lines on screen are to annotate a daily fair value gap, and us trading into that, right? And what I'm paying attention to specifically is how our bullish PDRAs, or our supporting PDRAs, not our rejecting PDRAs, so our supporting PDRAs / bullish PDRAs are supporting price and holding it up in a way, right? So we formed the stop hunt, trade into the bullish order block, and then we absolutely move away from it with quite a bit of volume, in all honesty. We violate this up close candle, which would otherwise be considered a bearish order block. We violate this one, we trade above it, and we close above it, in fact, right? So now this up close candle in here becomes what I would call ICT's breaker block, right? Because it breaks the low and it breaks the high. Not going to teach the theory yet on it, but think of it as a reclaimed bearish order block, something that is now flipped to, instead of repel price, support it, right? close above this high in here, close above this high in here, and then form this 4-hour fair value gap, right? Now what I'm paying attention to right now is the all-time high. We're pretty nearby to that. I don't think that we'd be coming up here for nothing, disrespecting all of the bearish period is within this range. And I mean, if you look at this entire consolidation up here, just the mere fact that we even entered into it is a suggestion to me that, you know, we might want to be taking out that high. It won't come up here unless it really wants to do that. Now, it can stall. It really can stall. It can consolidate up here as well. But I don't think that it wants to do that. We've got a pretty high impact news event coming out at 2:30 today, South African Standard Time. And I think on the release of that, you know, we might be targeting the all-time high in here. So what I'm really expecting, just a thought, not a signal, no attachment to it or anything like that. I'm not saying I'm going to be right at all. But what I'm expecting is for the fair value gap in here to support price. It is in the upper portion of this range because I've got the range marked out with the fib. Below 50% is discount, but notice how your stop hunt, the candle which created the stop hunt, forms below 50%. Right? I don't think that we have any reason to return to this area at all. It's quite close to wherever, you know, the original move came from, or where the original move started, the origin of the move. Right? We've got the breaker block marked out here, just for awareness, just for the simple fact that if we do come down and disrespect this fair value gap, this will be our next line of defense, kind of. But for this morning, what I'm paying attention to is we've swept the previous daily high, right? So that is liquidity ran, external liquidity ran on the previous daily high, and we've traded away from it, right? Not impulsively, it doesn't need to be impulsively, but taking this idea onto the lower time frame would be ideal. So we swept the previous daily high. We've got this higher time frame period in here, which could reasonably be our drawn liquidity for any sort of intraday idea or any sort of session trading idea, right? So I'm looking at that. I'm looking at what we formed at around this point. I want to pay specific attention to this 1 hour candle in here. If we can trade up into that this morning, I think that'll be our resistance. We can mark out the fair value gap in here as well. Just color coded the fair value gap in there. 50% and the opening of the order block line up perfectly together, right? So time is now 2:52 a.m. This is Eastern Standard Time or New York time. Usually you'll see that the origin of the morning session for us South African traders forms at around 3 a.m. New York time or 9:30. What is the time? 9 to 9:30 South African Standard Time. So I'm paying attention to that. I want to pay attention to, let me just use this one, the lower end of that candle as well, because once we violate this, any slight retracement back up into this candle would be considered a re-entry, right? I want to pay attention to that. Yeah, for the most part, what we can do here is we can kind of trade up into this. It doesn't need to, we can just trade into the fair value up. We can try to kind of trade up into this, violate low in here initially, form some sort of retracement back up in, and then trade down into kind of the 50% area of this, and then just be cool for the rest of the day. I don't expect much volume for today, especially because we have that news event coming out. There's no need for us to be doing anything sort of crazy for today. Just want to take a look. Yeah. So for the most part, that's what I'm expecting. I hope that this gives you guys some sort of insight. My advice to everyone is to just sit on your hands and let it play out. Watch to see if your ideas unfold. Use it as a practice run instead of actually getting in live.